Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The bird is the word. A Sartorial, the Everwatcher, takes to the field today. We have Skaven versus the Warriors of Chaos. I am leading the Forces of Chaos today, and Jay Phoenix is leading the Skaven. So for the Forces of Chaos, of course, we have Sartorial, the Everwatcher. We are bringing Searing Doom and I believe Final Transmutation, no, Plague of Rust. And we have a Chaos Spawn Rush, so we have 4 units of those. We have a front line of Chaos Marauders, and we have a couple Forsaken units as well. For the Skirmishing Force, we have a couple Marauder Horsemen and 2 Feral Manticores up in the sky. Now for the Forces of the Skaven, we have a initial Vanguard deployment of some Gutter Runners and Night Runners across the front line. Some nice skirmishing cav with stock and all those good things. We have the Wheels of Doom, the Doom Wheel ROR. Now the front line is going to be a line of Skaven slaves. We have some clan rats, as well as the Council Guard Storm Vermin with halberds. For the leadership department, we have the Grey Seer with Plague. So we take a quick look at what he is bringing today. So we have Scorch, we have Unholy Clamor, the dreaded 13th Bell, a nice summon of Storm Vermin, and Vermintide, a nice clan rat summon as well. For the rest of the force, we have an Assassin with his Assassin's Trophy, I believe, and the Rival Hide Talisman. For the rest of the forces, we have some Rat Ogres and just some more Skaven slaves to wrap things up. So let's get this show going as the initial skirmishing is underway. These Marauder Horsemen have discovered these Gutter Runners with poison. Now, they don't want to get too close. They want to kind of keep out of their range. Still getting a little poking damage in, but the rest of the Infantry of Chaos is going to be charging headlong straight into the Skaven lines, right up the middle. Now we have the Wheels of Doom, Doom Wheel coming out. It's going to have a little bit of fire being able to be poked out into the Marauder Horsemen. A little sporadic, but a few shots will find their way home. But yeah, the Marauder Horsemen pretty much going to be firing away. It looks like, I forgot, we also have a couple units of Chaos Warhounds with poison. A little bit more pressure to be putting on the ranged units of the Skaven. But for the most part, we are going to be approaching the Skaven line fairly unharmed. At least the Marauder Horsemen have at least been able to keep the skirmishers of the Skaven at bay, keeping them from firing into the Chaos Spawn and the Marauder front line. The Forsaken will actually do fairly well against a lot of the Skaven infantry. I think this is probably one of the matchups where they find a pretty good niche. Of course, we have Sartorial, the Everwatcher, with his Unbreakable, which will also be a nice bastion for the Forces of Chaos, and a nice charge into the front line as they charge into the Skaven slaves right here. Now, of course, the Skaven slaves aren't going to be putting up much of a fight. A lot of them are probably going to be breaking fairly quickly, trying to get a little bit of a surround off on this Wheel of Doom, pin them in, even if they are just as we have a Scorch coming in, just missing the front line of Marauders, as the front line of Skaven slaves is pretty much breaking across the line, as the Chaos is going to be getting into the Clan Rat secondary infantry tier. So we have the Hell Pit, which I also forgot to mention, and we also have the Hell Pit Abomination coming in to engage Sartorial, the Everwatcher. We also have the Assassin in there. The Assassin actually does fairly well against Sartorial. He is dropping his Rival High Talisman, so all these units are getting minus 40 melee attack for the time being, so not a whole lot damage going to be dealt on that end. So Doom Wheel has actually taken a fair amount of damage, and the rest of these Chaos forces are breaking through into the progressive tiers of infantry. This line here, we have the Grey Seer is going to be getting into things here, providing a nice bit of support, breaking these Marauders, and probably these Forsaken are going to be being dealt with pretty quickly as well. Though this middle formation, the infantry support of the Hell Pit and the Skaven Assassin has pretty much been broken, so the Night Runners and all these Gutter Runners, as well as the Rat Ogres, are going to be getting in and trying to get a little bit of extra support, and the skirmishing forces of Chaos is getting in. We have a Searing Doom coming in right into the middle of these Clan Rats, giving some good damage, should be breaking them fairly quickly as well. So now we have a few more Chaos Marauders and Spawn free to engage further into the Skaven formation. We have some Chaos Marauders and Chaos Spawn. Probably chased a little too long into these clan rats here. They really need to just pretty much chain through all their units. Really assist, actually, this little pocket here that we do have the Council Guard and Storm Vermin at the current time. And they probably really need to kind of put some pressure on the Night Runners, or really just probably need to assist this front engagement with the Gracier and the Hellpit. Sartorial is kind of running away a little bit. The Assassin doing some good damage to him. But now the Doom Wheel is getting into the thick of things, firing some shots into these Chaos Spawn as Sartorial gets a nice rear charge into it. Now the Chaos Infantry is kind of collapsing a bit onto this formation. We do have a Scorch coming through, clipping some of the Marauder units, but otherwise not doing a whole lot. The Chaos Marauders are going to try and screen out these Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves from assisting this middle engagement, and let the Chaos Bond try and get as much damage into the rear of the Gracier. But another summon of Storm Vermin coming into the rear of these Chaos troops here, as the Assassin is getting back onto Sartorial. And Sartorial does have the Assassin Trophy propped on him, so he has minus 24 melee attack and defense, so that Assassin will be doing all the more damage to him. Hounds in the back getting some nice routes and shatters off onto the Clan Rats. But the rest of the kind of the Chaos Spawn here is starting to deplete a bit, as Sartorial is having to pull out with the threat of the Assassin. Yeah, now it's pretty much the Hellpit, the Gracier, and the Assassin, kind of the core units for the Skaven left. We have quite a bit of ammo left on all the Night Runners and the Gutter Runners as well. Balance power is very much in the Skaven favor at this time. And a few of the forces are... We have some skirmishing trying to fire at these Rat Ogres as they give chase. Get as much damage as they can with the ammo that they have left. Once again, the Assassin is out for blood. Had the concealment bomb on him, so he just became visible at the very last second. But Sartorial was able to notice that and get out of the way quickly enough. Sartorial that does have a decent amount of speed, able to outrun the Assassin without any slows being added to him. Now the Hellpit is taking quite a bit of damage from these Chaos Spawn and Chaos Marauders, so the Chaos Marauders are terrified from the Hellpit himself. A nice Searing Doom, clipping some of these Skaven Slaves and hitting the Gracier as well. And now the tactical reserves come to save the day, or hopefully they shall, as they fall into the Rat Ogres with the assistance of Sartorial, and they will be routing. A Scorch about to come down, as the Horseman Marauders are able to get out of the way of that without taking any damage, and these Rat Ogres should be being routed for good. And now, of course, we have the Hellpit Abomination. It's getting very low, but it does have quite a bit of healing left on it. If it does get any of its procs for Too Horrible to Die, that'll be quite a dangerous thing indeed. It would be it's almost close enough to it would proc army losses for the Chaos Forces right now. But right now we have two full health Chaos or Feral Manticores, and hopefully they'll be able to get some damage. One of them swooping down into the Hellpit Abomination, getting a nice charge off, not dealing any damage on the initial charge, but getting a little bit of pokes here and there. Some more damage being dealt to that Hellpit. A few more attacks might be enough to finish it off, and it does go down, so that is a very good thing for Chaos here. Now that Feral Manticore does need to pull out at this time. There's not any support other than these Horseman Marauders, and the Horseman Marauders are trying to screen out these units as best they can. This other unit is being rampaged right now into some Gutter Runners. Not they won't be taking a whole lot of damage there, but it is away from the fight. Now this other unit is being rampaged kind of in the middle of some Skaven Slave Seers. I mean, that's not really going to be taking a whole lot of damage, but we do have the Council Guard close by as well, and they still have 32 models, which can be quite a problem indeed. Now some Clan Rats coming in, almost being able to screen out these Horseman Marauders, but they are able to get a charge into these Gutter Runners with poison, as Sartorial hops on to assist its Feral Manticore, trying to rout out these Gutter Runners, who are terrified and are now routing. Once again, we have some units coming back on the fringes for Chaos, but a lot of Skaven troops still remain. The Gracier of Plague being chief among them. And we also have the Council Guard. Otherwise, it's pretty much a lot of chaff, but I think the Assassin is the biggest threat to Sartorial. He's pretty much spent most of the match pretty much trying to stay away from that Assassin. The Assassin only needs a few hits left to take down the bird, but otherwise we do have some more units routing for Chaos. The Feral Manticore is out, but the other unit is trying to clean up shop on the fringes of the battle. So otherwise, we have some Skaven forces trying to catch some of these marauders, but they do dissipate as their summon expires. But this is quite the formidable blob left for the Skaven. They still have 400 units, so the Skaven forces are outnumbered 4-1 at this point. But the balance of power has pretty much been staying where it has for the last while. Skaven are the Chaos kind of refusing to die at this point, but pretty much all the ammo has been spent from Chaos, as now they are kind of forced to pick an engagement as both of the Feral Manticores are back, swooping down into the Grey Seer, trying to get kind of an alpha strike onto him, but all the Skaven forces are now converging to surround those two units. Other than the Grey Seer, we do have the Council Guard that can do quite a bit of damage, but a Searing Doom coming into the middle of all these units, really clipping quite a few. Also clipping the Feral Manticores, but also hitting the Grey Seer and all the Shaft units as we get a few routes and shatters actually from the Skaven forces. And now Sartorial charges in to the rear as the Feral Manticores are once again rampaged. But here is the Skaven Assassin coming into the rear, chasing after Sartorial. Gets hung up on a Marauder Horseman, and Sartorial does try and pull out once again. Another summon of Clan Rats is going down. Scorch trying to catch some of these Chaos Marauders, clipping a few of the units. But now Chaos, once again, Sartorial is running from that Assassin. As the Manticores, though, are on top of the Grey Seer, really who they need to take out if they want to get back into this game, as the balance power actually is getting a little bit closer to even, still very much in Skaven's favor at this time. But if these Feral Manticores are able to quickly deal with this Grey Seer, and they are able to regroup with Sartorial and deal with that Assassin, they still have a chance to make it back into this game, as balance power is getting closer and closer to even. Another of the Manticores is actually rampaging, but a lot of the Skaven forces are starting to rout. The Feral Manticore only needs a few hits left onto the Grey Seer as Sartorial continues to run circles away from that Assassin, pretty much just trying to stay alive for as long as he can. But both of the Feral Manticores are routing, and that is disastrous for Chaos at this time. Not a whole lot left for them to really deal with. The Assassin, those two Feral Manticores are needed to deal with the Assassin. A spell going down into the middle of these Skaven forces. A nice Searing Doom, hoping to clip as many units as possible. Sartorial trying to stay alive, taking a few shots in the back from the Assassin as the Feral Manticore swoops in, trying to deal a finishing blow to the Grey Seer. But Sartorial is just so low. His Assassin's Trophy dropped on him as he's once again reduced in melee defense. Now the Grey Seer is actually terrified from the Feral Manticore, but that one does rout indeed, and he's so close to the white line that I doubt he'll be able to come back in this match, as the other one does swoop in, trying to deliver the finishing blow, and the Grey Seer is so low. But even with the Feral Manticore being able to take out the Grey Seer, which he finally does, the Manticore himself is just so low that he won't be able to deal with that Assassin, and he does shatter. So it is just left to Sartorial, the Everwatcher, but he will be no match for the Assassin as the Assassin comes for the bird, and there will be no saving him as he does fall into the ground, and Chaos will be defeated on this day to the hands of the Skaven, and that will be our match. So a very good match. A few misplays on my side. Chaos, I did forget about the Chaos for Manticores. However, by me doing so, by the time I realized that I had forgotten about them, all of the ranged units of the Skaven had depleted all of their ammo. And they actually did very well. They were able to get quite a few kills and get a lot of damage on some key targets. Now, earlier on, they would have been very useful against the Assassin. I think that was the biggest threat to Sartorial himself, as he's pretty much just had to run circles around everything. But of course, this was Jay Phoenix's main faction, so I expected nothing less than a fantastic performance from him, and he did not disappoint. So I can't really criticize too much on what he has brought. Everything pretty much had its rhyme or reason. I think the Doom Wheel was maybe the only thing that probably didn't perform up to its expectations. Otherwise, the Assassin, I think, was that MVP for Skaven in a way, where they Skaven pretty much were able to screen out Sartorial and keep him running around, though Sartorial was able to use quite a bit of Winds of Magic, a lot of Searing Dooms going down, getting into the middle of all of the Skaven forces. But it was a very fun match, and I hope you all enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.